sing my song. I got the boom, I got the boom, the boom, the boom, boom. Apreta iya, apreta awa, mura baba, mura yo, mabital, wai se, so sa iya, sa awa, mang iya, mang awa, goldi, golda, so iso,
I'm Ed Donahue. Donald Trump is in New Mexico and says if the count is fair, he will win there.
I believe we won it twice, okay? You want to know the truth. And if you can watch your vote counter if we could bring God down from heaven and he could be the vote counter, we would win this. We'd win California. We'd win a lot of states.
The candidates are in more battleground states today, like Arizona and Nevada. In Pennsylvania, Kamala Harris's running mate, Tim Walz, says Trump's tariff plan would mean more money coming out of people's pockets.
Smarter people than Donald Trump, which is a good chunk of folks, CEOs of companies like Black & Decker, AutoZone, and Columbia have gone on the record to say if Donald Trump goes forward with this plan, they will simply have to raise prices and pass it on to you.
Thousands of women are expected to visit the grave of Susan B. Anthony in Rochester, New York, after casting their ballots as a tribute to the suffragist who got arrested for doing the same. Secretary of State Antony Blinken says some 8,000 North Korean soldiers are now in Russia's Kursk region near Ukraine's border and preparing to help the Kremlin fight against Ukrainian troops.
Russia has been training DPRK soldiers in artillery, UAVs, basic infantry operations, including trench clearing, indicating that they fully intend to use these forces in frontline operations.
Blinken says it's a desperate move by Vladimir Putin. A grand jury in Nevada has again indicted Nathan Chasinghorse on charges he sexually abused indigenous women and girls for decades, reviving a sweeping criminal case against the former Dancing with Wolves actor. The government says an inflation gauge, closely watched by the Federal Reserve, has dropped to a near pre-pandemic level in September. The Dow lost 378 points. This is AP News. The future of Obamacare has emerged as a key issue in the presidential race,
with House Speaker Mike Johnson vowing to overhaul the program if Donald Trump wins the election. Enrollment in the Affordable Care Act marketplace is opening up this week, just as House Speaker Mike Johnson, at a political rally, vowed massive reform if Trump is elected and the GOP controls Congress. Eligibility could be reduced and cost could be increased for the nearly 21 million people enrolled now under the so-called Obamacare program. Billions of dollars in tax credits are also at stake, and Congress would have to renew them, costing hundreds of billions of dollars over the next decade. Some Republicans have already balked at the cost. I'm Jackie Quinn.
Amazon reports a boost in its quarterly profits and exceeded revenue estimates. I'm Ed Donahue, AP News.
Good morning, Marianas. So many things we gotta discuss. Happy day, Tirawamian greetings to Rhoda, Guam, Saipan, and Tinian. For all your island news from a beautiful place with Pacific views. It's always so much fun on Good Morning, Marianas.
Friday. You made it through the week. Early voting, CUC. God's austerity. You made it at 7:07 here on Friday morning, and we are loving this day today. We're loving this weekend that's ahead because we're just about there. You know, the only bad thing about the austerity being lifted is that everyone's got to go to work on Monday. Sorry, guys. But I'll tell you what, that's great stuff for those paychecks. It's 80 degrees out here in Saipan right now. Humidity's at 87%. We're looking at scattered showers and thunderstorms throughout the day. Partly sunny skies with a high near 87. Winds out of the east, 16 to 20 miles per hour with gusts as high as 25. Hiya-dee. Hey, we're looking at a 30% chance of rain throughout the day. And tonight, it's going to be a little bit rainy. Scattered showers, mostly cloudy with a low near 78. Winds out of the east, 10 to 16 miles per hour, but again, gusty, 21 miles per hour. Looking at about 30% chance of rain tonight. Same goes for tomorrow and Sunday. We're looking at scattered showers. They say the scary word again. Thunderstorms. Scattered showers and thunderstorms. Partly sunny skies over the weekends. Carbon copy Saturday and Sunday. 11-15 miles per hour out of the east. Gusts as high as 18 and oh my goodness. It goes from 30% to 40% chance of rain on Sunday. I think we're still going to be fine. We're going to be fine, just fine. Good morning, everybody. Great to see you. Ooh, look at how red you are. Yep, that's right. I got a red polo on today. Oh, that means he's Republican. Yeah, I wear blue yesterday. I don't know. I wear what's clean and what fits. I'm telling you, I'm glad I voted already. And, you know, when I voted, I thought about, that's how I know I've been here long enough. A little bit, because I'm like, oh, crap. What did I wear today as I was driving to the multipurpose to do my early voting? I'm like, oh man, people are going to think I'm voting one way or the other based on what color. Like, is there just a green? Can I just wear green? And then nobody has to worry about or guess. They could guess anyway. It doesn't matter. But I'm not. I don't endorse anybody publicly for any of that stuff. Although I will say, in 2009, I did do a commercial for Kalili. They asked me if I would be in. I said, yeah, I'll be in it. I'll endorse him. He was great. And then he did great stuff for us. He was always really supportive. Outside of that, I haven't done any of those commercials or anything. And I don't think anybody's missing it. I don't think it's anything that anybody's like, oh man, I really wish Brad was out there doing. No, I think we're all fine. Anyway, it's going to be a great day today. It's Friday, and early voting is open. It's going to be open all weekend, too, over at the multipurpose building here in Saipan. And the campaigns are still going. You heard it in the AP update that we got at the top of the hour. And there's no joke about that. Like, they are full on still campaigning in the mainland. They're doing it in a different capacity here for sure. You're seeing a lot of frantic last minute stuff that's happening now. Maybe frantic's not the best word for it. Hey, good morning, Ina. Good to see you too. Hey, and while I'm at it saying good morning, see you other guys in the comments. Mariano, thank you. Great to see you. Thanks for all those updates about everything that's happening in Garapan. And wonderful to see you, Piling. Great to see you as well. It is really great to be out here with all you guys. Getting back to the other stuff that's happening out here. Man, I'll tell you, it is... The signs are in full force. The tents, you name it, everything's going out there. People eating sandwiches and drinking beer out there at the Civic Center. I got a phone call. Who are those guys with binoculars? Yep, I know. They're like, well, what are they doing that for? I'm like, oh, they just want to see who's voting. Get out there and take a look. Wait, well, why is it like intimidation? I'm like, no, I maybe at some level, but I don't think so. I think people are just nosy. We live on an island. People are. This is our World Cup. This is our World Series. This is our Super Bowl. Well, actually, no. This is like the mini games. 2 years from now is like the Pacific Games. The gubernatorial general election. That's the Pacific Games, right? But this one's like our mini games. It's important. Don't get me wrong. And it's exciting. Also, don't get me wrong. But it's not as big as when everybody goes bananas 2 years from now when the gubernatorial election comes around. That, by the way, is going to be an interesting election. Because who's going to run? Is the governor going to run again? Is the lieutenant governor going to run again? Big question. I don't know. I had heard all those same things you heard. They don't want to run again. Right. That's what you hear. I don't think you'd want the stress of doing it and all that stuff, especially now when it kind of sucks, right? It's not like you're able to roll right into the good times. But the question is, will they run again? I think I'm going to yawn, I guess, even though I've been up since the wee hours. I don't know how they don't run again. I can't see how the governor doesn't run again. Although that would explain, if they didn't run 2 years from now, I'm sure that then they would have to endorse Tina because she's the special assistant, right? And then who would become her running mate? I don't know. I don't know if that's even how it would go, because I think that this relationship was made based on the last election. And that's how they could be stronger together and all that, right? I don't know. I just can't see Governor Palacios not running again. After you have that power for 4 years, it doesn't seem like it's something you'd want to give away. I mean, look at Governor Babauta. He had one term. He ran again and lost, but then he spent years, still, let's just call it, what do they use on the Rich Eisen term? Like, you're close, you're sniffing it, right? He wanted to get in there again. Or he even declared that he was running and all that. Like, I can't imagine if you become the governor of the Commonwealth or of any state. I can't imagine you not wanting to be that again. You only get 2 terms, right? I think you'd want to have both terms. So even all these things, who knows what happens? 2 years is a long time, especially when you start to get older. Those 2 years, matter a little bit more. And are they going to still want to go out and do all those things, shake all those hands, kiss all those babies, on top of all the other things that go along with it? Whew. It's a tough one, but I don't know. I guess I'll have to wait till we get a little bit closer. As for now, though, you've got all kinds of races happening all over, and it's like people just started coming to the party. They were running for a long time. We're just starting to see their commercials or their public exposure part now. Just saw like signs for people that just came up. By the way, some signs that look really nice. They don't really tell you what they're doing. It's just, hey, here's the picture of me. All right, cool. I'm cool with that. Hey, today we're going to do some things. We're going to roll through all kinds of stuff. One of the things I want to get to, we'll get through some of the public comments that were made during yesterday's CUC special board meeting. And there were some good ones. Sorry, guys, I can't stop yawning. And I know it's contagious, so if I'm passing along to you, sorry. Oh. Well, Eric, thanks for tuning in. Good to see you, too. And Ann, I think I already told you good morning. But if I didn't, good morning. I just want to, while we're at it, I'm going to open up the Good Morning Marianas Facebook page, just so I can see if you guys are over there, too. That's something for you guys to know. By the way, this is just a little cool point for me that I'm happy about. Oh, no, I got to turn that off. I want to say that I'm thankful for all you guys for tuning in whenever we have any broadcasts or anything like that. Here, let me turn this down. Oof. But if you guys haven't already, please follow the NMI News Service Facebook page. If you haven't already, please follow the NMI News Service Facebook page. I know it's a message so nice I said it twice, but please follow it. That's a big deal for us. That's something that we tell for our show our sponsors. We're like, hey, cool, look at us. Or potential sponsors. Look at how fast we're growing. And look at all the reactions that we end up getting. Look at all the views we end up getting. All that kind of stuff. It is ridiculous how great this is really working out because of you guys and you guys doing that. And don't forget that we're on YouTube as well. NMI News 670. That's our YouTube channel. So right now we're broadcasting on both as we speak. So if you haven't already subscribed to us on YouTube, please do that. And then click that little bell that's on there too. That'll tell you whenever we are streaming, when you're out and about, it'll send you a message saying, hey, check them out. They're streaming. That's for anything that we end up doing. And that comes in big for our morning shows, but then we'll end up popping other stuff up later. I mean, because I think eventually the way this thing's going to go is going to be like a bigger YouTube presence because not everybody has Facebook, right? I mean, a lot of people do. Let's face it. Here in the CNMI, a lot of people do. But not everybody does. So YouTube's a real big win for us. So I think that that's a thing for us to do too. Hey, good morning, Gloria Hunter. It's so lovely to see you. Thanks so much. Oh, man. And I get to see you here on the NMI News Service page instead of on the Good Morning Marianas page, where I probably miss you all the time. But thanks so much for being here. By the way, I popped into the shack yesterday, and it was after 2, and the sign was closed. I'm like, oh, I know they're in there at least cleaning up, so I'll stick my face in. Say, do you have anything that's already done? No, they're like, I didn't even have to ask. They're like, hey, do you want one of these? They were fixing up some of the pods. And yesterday it was the chicken wings with the rice. Oh, man, it was so good. Oh, man. And that like Bishu pickled cocoa. Oh my God, it was so good yesterday with like macaroni. Oh man, it's the best deal. The plate of the day over at the Shack. So I was thankful that they had anything for me. I wasn't going to ask them to make anything because they were already starting to clean up. But if they had something left over, I was going to try to grab it, and I did, and it was good. It was amazing. That same love you get over there. It's just my favorite place to go. Maybe one day I'll see you over there when I pop in, Gloria. Maybe one day. And maybe we'll take our island hopper trip that we talked about around Micronesia. You can introduce me to everybody as we go from island to island. Yeah, they do take care of me. They absolutely do take care of me. It's a special place for me. The Shack is a special place for me. It's like a refuge for me. It is awesome. It is great. Oh man. Well, speaking of Gloria Hunter, you might have noticed her son is featured on our Facebook page. We put him up there yesterday. He sent us out a letter to the editor, which is really cool that we're starting to get those kind of things now too, because that's what we want to do. I mean, like, we're already losing one of our newspapers. And, people people want to put that kind of stuff out, where are they going to go? Where they can reach a lot of people too, not just their friends and all that stuff. Send it to me and I'll post it. Now, I didn't just put the Word document and that's it. We kind of stylized it a little bit for for social media. So we put it on Instagram and on Facebook, to where it's easy to read, where you don't have to zoom in and blind your eyes and all that stuff. So, but thanks so much. And that was Glenn talking about who he's endorsing for the candidate for United States Congress. Ed Probst, not a surprise. That's who he was going for. It would be great if I had him in here, though, to talk about it a little bit. I'd love to do that. But he's not here this morning, so we do have that. If you want to read his letter, you can. It's available right on our Facebook page, along with all those other great things that we put, including us being at CUC yesterday. That, by the way, there was so much stuff happening yesterday, you had to decide where you want to be. We had the governor who announced that the austerity's lifted. We thought that was going to be about just 902 talk, so I'm like, well, the CUC is a big deal. Like, everybody's hot about this right now. I want to be here for this and stick around for this. My colleagues were like, "Oh, what time are you heading to the governor's office?" I'm like, "I'm not. I'm staying for this. This is the big thing." They just scheduled it at the same time, but like, this is the story. So, well, for me, right? For them, they're smarter, probably. But I thought this was the news thing, and I want to do that for sure. Hey, good morning, Fabian. My brother. Man, it's great to see you. Thank you so much. Hapatalos y Fabian. Hey, it is awesome. I love it. It's great to see you, man. I really appreciate to see you on here. And, thanks to Fabian, that's how I was able to get to meet Candace. And she got me started with getting the interviews with her on the show. And that started all of these things, all of the stuff about CUC and all that. So getting back to that CUC thing. So we stuck around for it. It was 4 hours. We were at CUC yesterday. We left here early during the show and then headed up there and covered the whole meeting live, right? And then they took a break, then did public comments, did all that. Then they went to executive session. And while they were there, we were out in the hallway, and then we interviewed Candace, and then we interviewed Anna Villagomez, and then Jim Cyrock, who's the chairman of the CPUC. And then we went back in. We stuck around until they were done with the executive session. And I'll tell you what, that's something that nobody stuck around for. Everyone was gone after that. I thought they had such a productive last half an hour in that meeting at the end of the CUC meeting. Like, they were really talking about things. Well, what do you think? Should we do this? Why do we do this? And let's talk about how we do the agenda. Like, why do we do the agenda like this? And why don't we just stick to it to make sure that people know what they're doing? And got to hear Simon Sanchez speak quite a bit. And, man, he's sharp. He's got to be a respected figure in Guam with everything that he's talking about. I mean, I just like listening to him. He seems like he really knows what he's talking about. Whether or not he does, right? Maybe I don't get it, but it sounds like he does. He speaks really intelligently about all the points. It sounds logical and makes sense to me. So I really appreciated that. But we're going to talk about the public comments, because the meeting yesterday for CUC, it was long. I mentioned 4 hours, and it was a special board meeting, and they only had so many topics to get to. And it did seem like it strayed quite a bit. It did seem like they went way off on some of it. There was one topic that was supposed to deal with about a breach of confidentiality by a former employee. And they talked about that for about 45 minutes, but without talking about that. They said, we're going to have to put it into the executive session. Okay. But it was one of the topics for their agenda that they just did not reach. It was tough. And before they went to executive session, the fifth item on there was public comments. So they have all the preliminary stuff. They open, they do all that other stuff, and then they start their topics. And the topic before they went to executive session was public comments. And it's so late in the process. They didn't start public comments until almost 2 hours into their meeting. And that's a meeting where they're talking about making decisions on all kinds of things. So I have a question for you, and I'm going to tell you what I think too, but where do you think public comment should go in those kind of meetings? Do you think they should go toward the beginning or toward the end? I could probably create an argument for either, but after yesterday, I'm leaning more 100% toward putting them at the beginning of the public comment. Like, do all your introductory thing, take the roll, all that other stuff, call to order, adopt the agenda, all that stuff. And then public comments. And the main reason I would do, I get you. I see that. Hey, good morning, Freddie. Great to see you too. See, I see your thing about toward the end. Here's one of the reasons. I had a conversation with somebody yesterday afternoon after that meeting. They're like, you know what? But what if they're going to take votes on things? Maybe the commentary they're going to get from folks in the public might influence what they're going to say and how they vote on something. Because all the topics that they're going to discuss in that meeting have to be in the agenda, right? And then people are going to that meeting based on what they see in the publicly published agenda. So you speak your piece, especially if you know there's a vote coming up. And there you go. If they do all their thing, they do the whole meeting, they make all kinds of decisions, and your public comments are at the end, well, they'll never be able to take your input into account before they make those kind of decisions during the meeting. So that's a tough one. That's why now I'm firmly entrenched in the camp of public comments at the beginning. But who knows, I could get swayed. Hey, good morning, you guys. Jerry, great to see you. Petru, hey, thanks for weighing in. Good to see you. Nick, man, great to see you. Thanks for tuning in, man. Great to see you. But let's get into some of those comments. So here's who gave public comments. You had Candace Munya, Crispin Ogo from Rhoda, Senator Karina Magufnia, Jim Bob Kingman, John Gonzalez, Representative Cobre Aldon. Then you had three members of the CPUC, their chairman, Jim Cyrock, director Jack Angelo, and director Bruce Camacho. That's pretty good. And there were more people who were there to talk. But what happened was they only gave the people 3 minutes to talk. And I guess you have to put a limit on there. You can't just let somebody start reading, Lord of the Rings and filibuster, right? You have to put some kind of a time on there. I get that. No problem. But they said, I guess they used to be 5 minutes. They used to have no time limit. And then they could make it like 5 minutes. And then they went to 3 minutes. And the chairwoman could give you an extra time, and she did. And then after that, they asked if anyone else wanted to give up their time for whoever was speaking. And that's what ended up happening. Annabella Gomez gave up her time. Juan Tenorio, who was there, gave up his time. There were other folks who gave up their time. They went to the meeting to speak, and they gave up their time to let other people speak. And well, yeah, you're right. He said, dude made a point about how the time limit kept changing. Yeah, I got that interview, and I could play that for you. I mean, literally, I got between. So it was an hour and 48 minutes and 53 seconds before anybody got to the public comments. And then public comments lasted only about a half an hour, called 37 minutes. And then I got those other interviews while they went. So like I have an hour's worth of video between the public comments and all the interviews. So I didn't edit the public comments, but there's some really good ones. Excuse me. Jeez, where'd that come from? I want to do Jim Bob Kingman's because it's about 2 minutes. But then I want you to hear Cobra Eldon. So let me cue it up. Actually, I'll go to Jim Bob in a minute. But because I already have Cobra's all keyed up. By the way, we're at 7:30 right now. I'm gonna skip over that little break until 8 o'clock. But let's get to this first because I really want you guys to be able to hear like what was said by some of the folks who were there. So this is your representative, Cobra Eldon. These are his public comments at CUC yesterday. By the way, you can see him in the background. That's Jim Bob Kingman. He wins the best hat award. There were two people wearing hats. He had one of them, and I think he had the coolest.
Good afternoon or good morning, board. So, with your item number 2, public education about the fuel adjustment charge to combat misinformation, right? And then you come out with this pretty flyer. Now, and I'm pretty sure that there's nothing in public law that says that CUC is supposed to be a profit-generating entity. Because as a government agency, you are not allowed to be profit-generating. So answer this question. How is CUC paying for the CEDA dividend? Where do they get that money? How is CUC paying for the stipulated order fines? How is CUC getting the money to pay the BECQ fines? How is CUC getting any money at all to pay any legal issue? Because I'm pretty sure you guys do not have a tree that you plant somewhere that's growing money. So for you to come out with this electric charge, water charge, wastewater charge, okay, what about all those other things? How are you paying for that? And why is it not mentioned in this? Because I'm pretty sure the ratepayers are paying for that. Along with your recent salary raises for the management. But when it came for the people that are actually sweating and bleeding out there, when it came time for their rate change to raise their salary, there's no money. So let's take care of the top people first before we take care of the people at the bottom. Where's the justice in that? Where's the leadership in that? And here's moving on to the next topic. Financial impact of passage of Senate Bill 2337. Financial impact. What financial impact? Because evidently you guys haven't been doing your job in collecting the $60+ million arrears. How about this idea? How about you sell that arrear? Maybe not for 60, maybe you're going to get less, because I'm pretty sure you'll get less. Sell it to a collector and be done with it. And let CHCC worry about that. And no longer taxing us, the ratepayers, for that 60 million. And let's talk about privatization. I will pass a legislation, one way or another, to privatize the whole CUC. And better yet, we're going to make it a co-op. Government owns the grid and the water line. Everything else, privatize it. Because evidently, as sad as it may be, we got incompetent management. And that's a fact, and it shows. And let's talk about this renewable energy plan. This renewable energy plan has been, being planned for like the past over a decade. Aristotle once said this, right? That knowledge without action is worse than having the knowledge to begin with at all. You could study all you want, and you could plan for everything you want, but without any action, you're worthless. So I'm not quite sure how any of you wake up in the morning and look at yourself in the mirror and provide all this lip service that we got plans for this, we got plans for that. We got studies going on, and we got studies going on here. But yet there's no action. So the people, I'm pretty sure, are already sick and tired of your plans and your studies, because at the end of the day, your track record has proven nothing. Not one thing, other than keep operating a dilapidated, generator. As a matter of fact, you have a so-called brand new generator that's sitting in your power plant one warehouse that has been almost a year and it's not running yet. How's that? How's that going? But yet, you want to emergency procure 2 new generators. But yet you got one there that's just sitting there. And how about this? The people of Rhoda doesn't consume more than 2 megawatts of power. But yet you are asking to put 20 megawatts here in Saipan. You know how much it costs for the people of Rhoda to just buy a sack of rice? A 50-pound sack of rice is like $80. A pound of meat costs a lot more money because of the energy that is required over there. How about you break up this 20 megawatt and you put one in Rhoda at 2. Help them out. Start small so that any screw up that you're going to be encountering is not going to be so costly. Start small. People in Rhoda needs help. And I'm pretty sure that it's not going to take you 6 years to build a 2 megawatt renewable energy power plant. Because if you do, you got no business sitting in that chair if it's going to take you 6 years to build a 2 megawatt power plant. Thank you.
How about that? Some serious firepower coming from the elected leader from Precinct 1 in Saipan. And now he ended up getting a full-on 8 minutes. Was that really 8 minutes? Jeez. I can't imagine it went by that fast, but I guess it did. But he had a really good amount of time to talk about everything. But the big deal later came from one of the, with regards to that, was from one of the CPC regulators. In fact, it was their chairman from the Public Utilities Commission, James Syrock. He's like, I'm not here as someone in my personal capacity. I'm here as your regulator. And, I could just have him say it too. He had a lot to say. In fact, he was the next person up, I think, wasn't he? He was. This is after Karina Magofnia, the senator from Saipan. She spoke. And they were talking about her only having so much time as well. And then there was Cobre who went to speak. And there's Mamalyn Alvarez. She ended up giving up her time for somebody earlier as well. And I'm letting this go. This is Jim Syrock, so you guys can hear just how this started, like how he introduced about the time.
Good morning,
limits.
Madam Chair. Actually, it's almost afternoon now. Nice to meet with you and the directors. Before I go, I kindly request that my time limit be suspended. As your regulator, I have some things to discuss with you that probably going to take more than three minutes. I'm here as the chairman of the Commonwealth Public Utility Commission, not as a private citizen. And along that line, if I may make just a short comment, when we have individuals in the audience, such as Senator Magofna, Congressman Camacho, the chairman of the House Public Utility Committee, Senator Magofna on the Senate Public Utility Committee. When we have dignitaries from the legislature or your regulator, like me, come in, I humbly ask that you give them the protocol and the courtesy to not be required to only spend 3 minutes talking to you, because there's probably other things that we would want to say. So I would ask you to consider that, please.
I just want to pause it there. That makes so much sense. How, if you've got, granted, he's caught up in it, it's Representative Aldon, not Camacho, right? But, you've got the chairman of the the Utilities Committee for the Senate and for the House there. You should not be limiting them to 3 minutes, right? Also, you got your chairman of the Public Utilities Commission. Granted, this is not a regular board meeting. This is a special board meeting. You're supposed to hit all those topics, but that wasn't exactly adhered to necessarily. Because it kind of became a free-for-all where they were open up in all kinds of different discussions throughout the whole time. And that was part of the problem, right? That was it. In fact, so Jim Syrock brought up a lot of great stuff here in a second, but he was there for 18 minutes. And so what we'll do, though, because I want to get to the specifics, we can get to his specifics a little bit later, but I want to get this one part from Jim Kingman. Now, Jim Bob Kingman, you see about him in the comment in the newspaper a lot, talking about all all the cases that he's doing. A lot of them, like the anti-corruption cases and all that stuff. But what strikes me about him is his genuine interest in our community. He's not just one of those dudes who rolls in here from off island. And because you would think he is, right? Somebody who comes out here, they come out here, and so that he's with the Attorney General's office now, and they're only going to be limited, so they only kind of focus on what they're doing, kind of keep a low profile, and they get out. No, this guy, what impresses me about it, he's taking this ball and running with it, about becoming a real full-fledged member of the community who's genuinely interested in how things go and our overall governance, right? So enough of me fanboying on this. Let me press play on his. He followed Senator Magofnia, so he's going to be walking up now. Here he is, busting out the coolest hat in the whole meeting.
Well, my name is James Kingman. I'm speaking in my personal capacity today. but I do know a fair amount about board governance. I want to talk about your agenda adoption. I think there's probably a lot of people either tuning in or that have attended that are kind of frustrated by what's happened here this morning. By adopting an agenda that includes phrases like "to combat misinformation," or that there are recent breaches of confidentiality, just to give an opportunity for a pre-written statement but no elaboration, it adopts those terms by board action. You're claiming that there was information, not what was misinformation, not misunderstanding, not a need for education, but active misinformation. By saying that but having comments on recent breaches of confidentiality and then insisting that you're going to need to go into executive session because it involves a former employee and would be more appropriate for that time, you're still taking an end run around making the claim that there were those breaches. What these agendas are for is public notice to tell people what they expect to hear comment from the board about. What special meetings are for is for a particular response to a situation, proposed items. If the purpose of this board is to make it look like they're open, transparent, and working for the betterment of the Commonwealth and not just reacting to what they perceive as bad intel coming out, putting this out as being how you're saying as being the agenda for today and inciting all these folks to show up to attend especially after so many news stories makes it look like the board is saying that these things are true just by adoption. Whoever is drafting these and whatever you guys do moving forward, I would recommend that you make sure that your imprimatur before you vote on something is actually reflects what you believe and what you know to be true. Thank you. Yield the rest of my time.
And there you go. And that was Jim Bob Kingman's comments. And I thought that was John Gonzalez next. We'll get to him in a sec. But I thought it was so great. So I'm standing there by the camera, and I meant to message these guys afterwards, but I'm standing there by the camera, and I'm like, no, look, you're here to cover this stuff. You're not here to give any public comments. You're not saying anything and all this. But when I listened to that conversation happening under the number 4, which was the breach of confidentiality of a former employee, and it had nothing to do with that. Again, the first thing that they talked about was that the breach occurred, right? And they want to talk about it. They're like, well, we're probably going to have to talk about this in executive session. I'm like, well, why would you put that on an agenda item if you can't talk about it? And I think what it is that's a way of projecting that to the community when you put this out there, saying that you're telling people this is what happened. You're putting all these little pow, 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 pow. This is what happened, and this is how we think about this. But then you don't talk about it. Then they spent all this time talking about potential plans and developments and all this other stuff. Had absolutely nothing to do with it. Excuse me. And it wasn't bad information. It was really good information. It was a great public information distribution of plans that they have for renewable energy and all this other stuff. But when you're calling a special board meeting, you're supposed to talk about the things that it's a special meeting. You need to. Oh, I got somebody calling in. Oh, gotta take this call for sure. Piling, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Brother Bat.
Thank you so much for giving us a ring. How are you?
Fine. It's a beautiful day. The sun is out.
Ungan.
Yeah. I just want to share in regards to that stopwatch when it comes down to public comment.
Yes.
Yes. I don't see the logic. It's that it goes to our political leaders at the House, the Legislature's House, the Senate, on our administration, the governor. Mm-hmm. And so when it comes down to the department with those board members, when public comments comes around, you should allow the people to speak up. No stop what? Because at the end of the day, those people are working for the people. It don't matter if you're not a politician but a board member, because you were appointed by the government, by the governor. You're working. All those people are working for the people. So they should allow the people to especially on that topic with CUC. No, 3 minutes is not enough. 3 minutes is not enough. We need let them speak their mind. That's why our island and our government will never move forward with righteousness and accountability, because they put a stop what on the very people that put them in office. It's sad, no, Brad. It's sad.
Oh, it was really surprising.
Yeah, our leaders need to adopt rules and regulation or something. That when it comes down to public comment, allow the people to speak. At least speak, not say bad words. No, you can have rules and how to present yourself. If you're gonna do comments, don't say bad words and all of that. But let them speak. If they're speaking on behalf of the topic, allow them the time to speak. Because those officials, when it's their turn to speak, they can speak all they want, and we have to sit down and listen to every word that comes out. If it takes 1 hour or half a day or the whole day, we're there listening.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes down to the people, allow them to. We sat down listening to you guys. Now you sit down on those expensive chairs. Those chairs belong to the people. Sit down there and listen to the people. Please, Lord. Please. Our government and yeah.
No, you're great. So I'm pulling it up just to see what I could find out real quick. So I remember this coming up and making some changes to the Open Government Act. In fact, to go to share it on the screen here. The great thing about one of the great things that we have out here is that we've got all of our laws and everything are available online. But this says 2019. I feel like this was way, or 2009. This is way before us. This is from 94 or something, but they were making some changes to the Open Government Act more recently than that.
Yeah, you heard that? Who's the CPUC guy?
Yes, Jim Cyrock.
Yeah, you heard him. He said that a congressman or any political official shouldn't be given 3 minutes. It should be extended. He even mentioned that if the governor was there and he was, they would not give the governor 3 minutes. You have to allow the governor how long he wants to talk. So the logic, it doesn't make any logic if our leaders will have the time, all the time on the world, and then when it comes down to the regular people, you're gonna click on a stopwatch and to see if the 3 minutes is up. There's no logic to that. It's unfair. It's unfair. We can go to court and we ask the judge, is it justice? That they give us they time us on a stopwatch while the officials can speak their mind all day. There's no logic to it. That's what I want to share. And they should do another petition to when it comes to public comment, allow the people to speak. Allow the people to speak, because plenty misdeeds that happen on our cinema. Plenty, and we need to speak up. That's why it's very important. It's election already. It's here. It's here already. Go out and vote. Vote for the right people. Put the right leader in office. Put the ones that will really work for the people that put them in there. You know?
You know, here, let me tell you. Here, so I'm looking at the CNMI's Open Government Act. I think you're really going to like this. It's exactly what you're saying. This is part of the law right here. Hold on. I'm going to put it on the screen so you guys can see it. It says, this again, this is, you can find it online. It's Public Law 8-41, and this was passed almost 30 years ago, right? It says, the people of the Commonwealth do not yield their sovereignty to the agencies which serve them. The people, in delegating authority, do not give their public servants the right to decide what is good for the people to know and what is not good for them to know. The people insist on remaining informed so that they may retain control over instruments they have created. That's it.
Yes, that's a big bullseye right there.
Mm-hmm.
It should be that way. But I don't know how they're getting away with this. You know, they're using especially at the house of the people, and you limit public comment. Unbelievable. You know?
Yep, and it's not about holding people to something, right? Where it says, "Hey, well, the words are this." This is I just highlighted the part that I read, but right underneath it, it says, "The provisions requiring open meetings and open records shall be liberally construed, and the provisions providing for exceptions to the open meeting requirements and open records requirements shall be strictly construed against closed meetings of non-disclosure of records." I mean, like, it's saying essentially, you know, to wrap it up a little bit, it's saying, hey, even if it looks like we're saying things that seem a little bit harsh in here, that's not what the purpose is. We're saying that, you know, we want this to be as open as possible, and if you err on the side of anything, err on the side of giving people more access to what's happening. So I think it's 100% with what you're saying, that frustration that you're saying. It's hard written into the laws that we have for the Open Government Act to make sure that the people get exactly what you're talking about.
Yes. Yeah. And they should start reacting to that kind of their own policies, whatever they make.
Mm-hmm.
You know, stop keeping that. It's very important. The topic is very serious. Allow the people to talk. Give them the time. Give them the time. Because one of the commentators, the ones that make comment there, is he doesn't know if tomorrow he will speak again.
You know, here's another part. Dispensa appealing. Sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, like you know, it's true. Let me speak today. Today is the day. Because we don't know if tomorrow will be the day again. We never know. So allow the people to speak. You know, at least if that person speaks before tomorrow, he is not there. He was part of the change. We need to change and make our cinema better. Yeah, too much failure. Too much. You know, everybody knows it. Yeah.
Yeah, so at the meeting, when everybody went in, they had a sign-in list and everything, and then they had a thing, do you intend to give public comments? Like, you had to circle yes or no, you know, so you had to register, basically, right, for the public comments. I hadn't seen this before, but this is under the same law, right? Here, I'm putting this back on the screen. Section 6, conditions to attendance not to be required, right? Section 6. A member of the public shall not be required as a condition to attendance at a meeting of a governing body to register his or her name or other information, to complete a questionnaire or otherwise fulfill any condition precedent to attendance. This section shall not preclude voluntary sign-in sheets. So as long as that wasn't a voluntary sign-in sheet, It shouldn't be something that anyone has to do.
No, but this is just my conspiracy theory on that part. You know, maybe they're requesting for people to sign in so they can know who to retaliate to. So who's in favor and who's not in favor. So that's just my conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Why they're doing that. But it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. That department belongs to the people. Even the name, Commonwealth Utility Corporation, Commonwealth. Department of Public Lands. No? You can go to Commonwealth Health Center. It belongs to the people. All those departments belong to the people. And all those people working, appointed by the governor, is working on behalf of the governor. Voted the people that put the governor in office, and he appointed people because he count on them to work on behalf of him and for the people. For the people, by the people, to the people. They keep forgetting about that. There's some leaders that forget that they were there by the people, for the people, to the people. I guarantee you, not all of them, but some of them are forgetting that. Thank you, Brad, for giving me this chance to speak.
Yeah, well, thanks for calling, Pilling. This whole show in this community doesn't do anything if it's nobody else is talking. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I love you all. I love you, Marianas. USA, all the way. Viva!
Viva!
Adios.
Adios. Hey, thank you so much, Peeling, for calling. Really appreciate it. I love it when he calls in. It's never a boring phone call. That's for sure. So I'll tell you what, going through like the Open Government Act about the meetings and all that stuff, I'll tell you what, one thing that they also did properly was before they went to executive session, and you can see that if you go through and watch the whole video before they go into executive session, is that they did what they're supposed to do. They didn't just say, okay, we're going into executive session, that's it. No, their legal counsel announced what they were going to talk about in executive session, the purpose for why they were going to executive session, and the approximate time that they planned on being in executive session before coming back out. That was great. You don't hear that a whole lot, and you're supposed to. That's part of it. And they were right on the ball with that. So props to their legal counsel for knocking that out. That was great. But again, like that thing about the special meetings, there's something in here about special meetings that I skipped over. But, about that you're supposed to stick to what that's about. Like you're calling that meeting because you have a specific agenda to get to, right? That agenda for this meeting was more like it's a little rehab, right? It's a little PR rehab meeting where we got to talk about the stuff that is important, the things that we think are different, right? I mean, here, in fact, let's talk about that. Here, we'll go to the where it says special meetings, section 12. Special meeting may be called at any time by the presiding officer of the governing body of a public body or public agency, or by a majority of members of the governing body, by delivering personally by mail. That's about the notice to it. Okay, so let's get to that. That's notice. Why you're doing it. The call and notice shall be specific. Okay. Final disposition should not be taken. Okay, that's it. The final disposition, this is of what your notice is, shall not be taken on any other matter at such meetings by the governing body. I mean, that's the big part. Like, you're only supposed to be talking about, so that's it. Sorry, I guess I could have read that before that. The call and notice shall specify the time and place of a special meeting and the business to be transacted. Final disposition shall not be taken on any other matter at such meetings by the governing body. So I think like what happened in section 4 was completely other matters. It was just like talking about theories or not, that's not fair, but talking about different plans for different things and the status of different things. It had nothing to do with what number 4 was. It was granted, I'm telling you, it was all good information. That was good info for people to talk about and people to hear about it. None of that was bad information, but that's not for a special meeting that doesn't have that on the agenda. Right? I mean, that was about 45 minutes worth of talk that had nothing to do. It's like if they had an agenda that had all this stuff on there, and one of them just said like item number 3, Brad's a jerk. Item number 4, whatever, and then they bring up our item number 3. We're going to talk about Brad's a jerk. Yeah, I want to talk about it, but I think we need to go put that in executive. Yeah, that sounds right. Okay, so let's go on. But on the topic of that, and then they go into everything else. So it's like they just wanted to make that kind of a statement on the record where it wasn't great. At the end of the executive session, watch that. It's about 20 to 30 minutes at the very end. And there is a really, really good discussion and amongst the board members about the agenda. Like, he really asked what the purpose, like, who sets the agenda? And they all kind of looked at each other. Well, you do, right? Well, you do. Well, we all do. We all discuss it together. You have one of the directors asking who sets the agenda, because he didn't know who made the agenda. And he's one of those guys. I don't bring it up to make anyone look foolish, but I do bring it up to say how much I appreciate that last part of the meeting, because of what an honest, transparent, open discussion it was. Like, it was so healthy. I think that may have been one of the, aside from like the airing of grievances, if you were, it was almost like Festivus, right? But that last part was so real. It was so organic to what you would think an honest body for a public agency wants to discuss. They're like, how are we supposed to do this, by the way? You know what? That's one of the things I don't like about the legislature, about how they say, all right, brief recess, and you don't get to hear that. But when they take those brief recesses, they're talking about like, hey, how are we supposed to do that, by the way? Oh, you're supposed to do this. Why would you put that in recess? I've asked that question. They said, well, we don't want people to think that we don't know what we're doing, and we don't want them to know how the soup is made, right? They just want you to know that the soup is good. I appreciate that. I appreciate you wanting to show polish and all that, but isn't that better to let people see? Like, I think it does. It serves as a great example for other folks. What do we tell kids in school? There's no such thing as a dumb question, right? Do the same thing in those kind of sessions. They are learning on the job. These, aside from the folks who have been there for like 30 years, like Paul Manglonia, who's like a senior statesman, right? Not everybody knows everything about how that works. And having that group discussion and hearing it and seeing it in front of everybody, I think is so healthy. It doesn't make anyone look dumb. And I would be the first one to stand up for somebody who asked one of those questions to reveal that they don't know what it is. If someone else said, hey, look, that dummy doesn't even know. Yeah, but he's not dumb enough to not ask. You know what I mean? Like, you're doing it in the process of trying to learn how to do things the right way. Again, that's what I loved about that conversation. If you go to watch that video, the last part of it, you'll see me, like, I do that interview with Jim Cyrock, and then they walk down the hall, and I start showing the hallway a little bit. So I don't know the exact time that it's on there. But, I mean, we could find it. But watch when we go in the door and set up, and listen to that conversation. It's the healthiest, cleanest conversation. It was like when they opened that door, like if that was a smoky room, it's like all the smoke went out and you just hear them really getting stuff done. There's no grandstanding. There's no anything. It's not to implicate or to insinuate that they were doing that before, but it was so refreshing to hear it. It was great. It was great. Ray, if the phone number, there you go. The phone number for the show is 789-2323. 670-789-2323. If you guys have questions or comments. And by the way, thanks again for your 911. That's great. If you guys have questions or comments, thanks for putting the comments in there. And you could always call 670-789-2323. But yeah, that last part, it was great. Speaking of Candace, we'll get to some of her comments too. I just got to scroll back a little bit too. But there were a lot of good ones. Again, Senator Karina, she was there. Crispin Ogo, you know what? I need to get, I know Rep. Cobre has it for sure. But I want to get he left before I could get him. Crispin Ogo, he had a sheet that he made with an umbrella he was talking about with the like his conspiracy theory about the fuel adjustment charge. It was good, but I really want to get it so I could show you guys what it was. It was a good conversation. It was nice to see him out there too. It was good. John Gonzalez, he had a very emotional presentation as well, and he had a lot of time. They gave him. I think what happened after the first couple of folks, they really stopped putting the brakes on people for time. But man, it was really great to see people give up their time for other people. But it did suck that people had to give up their time for other folks. So, all right. So let me go to here. I'm on the shared screen now for you. Let me try to key up another one of those comments from yesterday, and like. Here, let's go back. So we're going to go to 148. By the way, I'll put all these timestamps. Oh, yeah, I'll put all these timestamps in there. We got a call. I wonder if it's Ray. Hey, good morning. It's Good Morning Marianas. Who's this?
Hey, good morning, Brad. This is Mr. Kirgo. How are you, brother?
Hey, good morning. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I just wanted to say thank you to Mr. Tulin for giving me out the number to get a hold of you. Brad, if you can give me a moment to share out the conversation that I was present on Candice Muniz's town hall meeting, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, sure. That was Wednesday night at Last Shot Bar in CK.
Yes, that was there. I was there presently, and among other people such as candidate Gonzalez, Congressman Cobre, si Juan Tenorio for running for board, I, Diana Schneider, Richard, even I asked Candace because I was expecting in a town hall meeting that I'm used to attending in states where people are serious when it comes to matter where, especially this matter where you are accusing a entity, a body of a board of corruption. And I was expecting to see documents, like people, this is what I was saying. This is the proof. Not where I'm watching and everybody is being intoxicated, including her. And for me, that is very unprofessional, for one. Why? Because I'm trying to weigh where is she coming from in all this, in this time of this election. And, the question I asked her, and she was putting out to us there, was, this is how it went. She said, he said, they said. And I go, I'm sorry, but that's all I'm hearing is, where are these, he said, all these, they said, documents? You should have made copies. That was one of the questions. But this is the one that I want the people to hear, because it is important. You think that this corruption money is important? Hear this out. She even acknowledged, and literally, in my sense, I gave her the floor to confess to the people that was there. I asked her what was her knowledge of the PFAS contaminant in Precinct 1 that has been killing people around in Saipan. Would you believe that her writing grants, one of the grants that she gets to write for, because I asked her, are you only directed to handle the grants for the power grid, or are you part of the water division? She was part of all. And in light of that, I go, then you are aware of the contaminants. There, and to the people of the Marianas, she confessed. All those people were there, even Congressman Kubre. He was not even aware of the PFAS, and that's a lie. Why? I had a conversation with him this year, and he hung up on me, especially to you all Precinct 1 living in London. Look at your water bill. That's why Kubre was so frustrated, because I put him on the spot where I go, Congressman, why are CUC is putting out on this bill that have even shared out to the public? Why, since when are we drinking that water? And knowing that this PFAS contaminant on Precinct 1 that has, and for Candice to state that the contaminant has reached the aquifer. All those things that I've been saying, backed by Ms. Liana Huckschneider. And she even spoke on that part where she even addressed Candice that if it was from her that she asked Candice to provide those, because it is those vital information that the people should know to the people of the Marianas. Is this money worth your life right now? Speak up. Check your delegates, because they are aware of that contaminant. That's why I say, why is it not attacking one cultural people here like us, the natives? And, it's like people have cancer rate, mouth cancer, that they don't even chew. I go, wait a minute, there has to be a source that we are all connected to, and that's the water aquifer. All you all buying water, those 5-gallon water that's being pumped out. Man, look at the data when we were all growing up drinking rainwater. We never had really environmental issues as cancer rate this, per capita so high. But yet today, we are one of those people that cancer rate is per capita. We are exceeding other states per capita. And that is a red flag for me, because there's a source. Really, if a Chinese or a Filipino has mouth cancer and never chewed, then really that's a red flag. I mean, literally, come on. Where's the source coming? It has to be the aquifer, the water, which Candice testified that night. And I just want to share you all, that is really a serious matter. You think money that she's saying right now is serious? Think about your lives, that she has already acknowledged it. Well, Brad, I just want to share that to the people today, and thank you for letting me. Have a nice day, brother.
You too. Thanks for calling. All right.
No problem.
All right, that was Ray Kitgwa. He gave us a ring and gave up some of his stuff there. Oh, sorry, is that a missed call also? Do I have more people who called in that meantime? That's possible. Oh, just one moment. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Oh, no, that was last night. Or yesterday morning after the show. Okay, great. All right. Well, folks, I'll tell you what. It is 8:17. I know we could really stick with this. I've got to get some love to some of our sponsors for sure, because otherwise I'm not going to be able to do this stuff anymore. They'll love me for having the show, and then love me for having no show, because I'm not telling anybody about the stuff that they're paying me to tell people about. All right, so let's do this. We're going to take a real quick break. We're going to run a couple of commercials to give some love to our sponsors, who we are so thankful for. And then we're going to come back and tackle more of this stuff. But a great conversation with you guys so far today. I mean, we're already crushing like nonstop all the way through. And maybe this is one of those late days again. I'm telling you, it keeps happening. We keep finding so much stuff to talk about. and you guys are still so interested, so we end up doing it. All right, while we start working on our sponsors, maybe you can start thinking about when you're going to start working on yourself. And one of the greatest places to go is right down the road in CK, Laddie Belt 24-Hour Fitness. They're open 24 hours a day. That's the 24 of the Laddie Belt 24, because you don't have to try to squeeze it into your schedule when they're open and their hours. No, it doesn't matter. If you're better at 2 o'clock in the morning going down there to work out, you can literally go down there and work out at 2 o'clock in the morning. Laddie Belt's the only place that lets you do that, and it's the newest facility in Saipan. I'll tell you, it is great. We were just down there earlier this week doing our little spinterview with Coach Lorenzo. You can go down there, check out their free weights, check out their racks, check out their heavy bags, check out the Octagon. They've got the hot sauna. They got the cold plunge. They've got great spin bikes. They've got great supplements and great partnerships with insurance companies and pharmacies like PHI. The only thing they need is you. Go down there, check them out. Tell them you heard about it from us.
Persistence of build, be the inspiration, they witness approve. We do what we do by the rules in the book. Be a Lottie where discipline and vision is built. We lead by example, persistence of build. Be the inspiration, they witness approve. We do what we do by the rules in the book.
If you're a person with a disability in the CNMI, you have certain rights that protect your ability to vote. This video contains some information about your rights and some resources available to you in protecting those rights.
What are some of your voting rights as a person with a disability? You have the right to vote regardless of your disability. You have the right to cast your vote privately without disclosing your vote to anyone. But you also have the right to ask for assistance as needed. Polling place workers should be ready and available to assist and accommodate your needs. CNMI law requires that you must be registered to vote in the CNMI. You can vote if you are a citizen or national of the United States, at least 18 years of age on the date of the election, domiciled in the CNMI, a resident of the CNMI, and have resided in the Commonwealth for 120 days, are not serving a sentence for a felony, have not been declared by the court of unsound mind, and have registered to vote at least 60 days before the election.
As a voter with a disability, you have the right to vote in an accessible voting place. That means you can get from your car through the door to cast your ballot without physical barriers or impediments.
Under the CNMI law, any voter who needs help in casting a ballot is entitled to request for assistance. A poll supervisor or the executive director of the Commonwealth Election Commission can provide assistance at the polling place, or you can exercise your right to curbside vote. However, whether you vote at curbside or not is your choice. No poll worker can force you to vote curbside. If you are unable to mark your ballot, you may select up to 2 people to help you cast your vote, except that they cannot be your employer or your employer's agent.
The Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990 requires public entities to provide progress access, reasonable modification of policy, auxiliary aids and service where necessary to afford an individual with a disability an equal opportunity to participate in and enjoy the benefits of the services, program or activity being conducted by the public entity.
Our primary goal is to have 100% participation of eligible voters in all elections, 100% polling place accessibility, and options for all voters who seek independent and private voting. If you want to know more about your voting rights, please contact the Northern Marianas Protection and Advocacy Systems Incorporated at 670-235-7273 or 74, or you can simply visit our website at www.nmpasi.org.
This video was brought to you by the Administration for Community Living and does not necessarily reflect their official views.
little over 3 months ago, I declared my candidacy for CNMI's delegate to U.S. Congress. I wanted to give our voters a different choice, a choice more befitting the spirit of our islands, a choice who isn't beholden to big money party politics, and someone who would voice the collective interests of all who call the CNMI home. Service to our community starts with a dignified, even-keeled approach to every issue with all people all the time. Our next delegate needs to be someone with a proven, unblemished record of placing a high value on dignity and respect for all. Our next delegate needs to be someone focused on service above self. And our next delegate needs to be someone who is willing to represent all of our citizens, not just a select few. Our strength lies in our unity, and our community needs an honest leader who is committed to safeguarding and preserving our Commonwealth as a whole, not someone preoccupied with self-preservation through political gamesmanship. I know what it takes, and I have the proven experience to lead others in service to our community. My name is James Rayfand, and I want to be your voice in Washington. This November, when you step into the ballot box, please vote number 4. Please vote James Rayfand.
This ad was paid for by the committee to elect James M. Rayfand, and we approve this message.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. Voting underway, Election Day nearing. The presidential candidates are pressing their cases. Kamala Harris speaking to reporters about Donald Trump's comment yesterday that he will protect women, whether women like it or not.
Very offensive to women in terms of not understanding their agency, their authority, their right, and their ability to make decisions about their own lives, including their own bodies. And this is just the latest on a series of reveals.
In New Mexico, Trump says Harris is dividing the country, not him.
She just says anything that comes to her mind. She's a liar. She's worse than crooked Hillary. At least Hillary was intelligent. She was a very intelligent one. This one is a total stiff. You can't have her as your president.
Jordan Wilkie at WITF Radio in Harrisburg reports the number of false and misleading claims about voting are on the rise.
You have to be alive on Election Day for your vote to count in Pennsylvania. David Voy, division manager for Allegheny County Elections, says counties update their voter rolls regularly.
Once a voter is marked deceased, the ballot, if returned, cannot be accepted.
As with the dead, non-citizens are not allowed to vote. Daniel Mallinson, a Penn State associate professor who studies elections, says concerns about election administration keep coming up over and over.
All these claims of coordinated voter fraud or non-citizens voting in large numbers, there just isn't evidence of that.
Voter fraud, in general, breaks a lot of laws. For non-citizens, registering and voting each carry steep penalties, including the possibility of deportation, fines, and imprisonment. In Harrisburg, I'm Jordan Wilkie.
Rudy Giuliani's missed a deadline to turn over belongings to 2 former Georgia election workers who won a $148 million defamation lawsuit against him. A moving company and lawyers expected to be given access to his Manhattan apartment. And rocket fire from Lebanon killed 7 people in northern Israel today, while Israeli airstrikes on Hezbollah killed 24 in Lebanon. This is AP News. The Fed's preferred gauge shows inflation dropped to 2.1% in September from a year ago, barely above its 2% target, and in line with readings in 2018, well before the pandemic. Jobless claims down last week and mortgage rates up again, a 30-year averaging 6.72%. And Seth Sutel has the AP Markets report.
Drops in big technology stocks pulled major indexes lower on Wall Street. The S&P 500 fell 1.9% Thursday, its biggest loss in 8 weeks. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 378 points. It's about 0.9%. The Nasdaq Composite gave back 2.8%. Microsoft and Facebook's parent company, Meta Platforms, weighed on the market. Both companies delivered better profit than forecast for the latest quarter, but investors were expecting even more. Other influential big tech stocks also fell, including Nvidia and Amazon. Treasury yields held mostly steady in the bond market. Seth Sutel, New York.
And I'm Ben Thomas, AP News. Thanks for listening.
The Dodgers a strike away from a championship, from a proper celebration. Start the party, Los Angeles! Your Dodgers have won the World Series!
That's the call as the Los Angeles Dodgers, with a massive comeback in Game 5, they were trailing 5-0. And they won the World Series in Game 5. Could anybody be more excited than Tobat Castro? Tobat, this guy has been such a big fan of the Dodgers. And this is his year. This is his year. Wow. I'll tell you what. 5-0. They were up 5-0, the Yankees. And they ended up losing it. Just play after play, drop balls that could have been caught, bad base running, and it's just crazy. I know. Can you believe it? It was wild. I know you're a happy guy, but the Dodgers win the World Series in 5 games. It was a heck of a thing. And, thinking about that, we are about 2 weeks away exactly from the start of Masters Baseball in the CNMI. That's right, here in Saipan Baseball League, they are going to be doing the Masters League. Last year, there were 6 teams. I didn't see how many teams we have this year, but I know we got a lot. And it's going to be great. We got calls from all kinds of folks. Hey, are you guys going to be covering Masters Baseball? Are you guys going to be doing it? Even the phone company called us. Not kidding. ITN reached out to us. Are you guys going to be covering it? Pretty cool. Is there interest in baseball? I think so. Absolutely. So we're going to be there covering it for sure. It's awesome. Masters Baseball. It's big. It brings out all the families. It's like it's the milkshake that brings everyone to the yard. It is. Well, anyway, it was great. We're a baseball place. Say what you want. Granted, soccer is pretty well supported here. No question about it. It is the biggest sport for sure. But you can't tell me that baseball's not our sport. Baseball is our sport here in the Northern Marianas. It is our sport. That is the sport of Northern Marianas. I don't care if there's 10,000 kids playing soccer. Our sport's baseball. I know. Yes, Louisa, we are. We are going to be covering it again. We're not again. We didn't cover Masters League last year. So it's going to be a shorter season, but it's going to be great, and we're going to have it for you. So you'll be able to cheer for all your friends, your family here if you're out there in the mainland. I can really hear the kids outside. Getting ready for school at 8:30? Waiting for the bus? Yeah, I guess so. But we're getting really close to baseball again. So it's going to be 2 weeks away. And this is that time of year where it gets a little stormy. Just so we got to make sure that we're able to get through all the games. If you haven't noticed, it's a little rainy. And rain has kind of a thing for us out here. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to playing with the Blue Jays. Yeah, that's right. But can he hit though? We're gonna find out. All right. I know we can talk about all kinds of stuff, and we will. But I'm going to show you some more the comments from yesterday's meeting. But the big news is there's other big news that happened. We were there at CUC, so we missed it. So we weren't there yet, but. We guys celebrate the successes that we have in the Marianas, and that one of them is that the governor and lieutenant governor lifting the austerity measures that they started not long after they took office, after they said, holy crap, look at this S show that we've got that we just took over for. And now they're back. That's like... It literally, I know it's not fair to say, because you're really just restoring what everybody's been getting. But based on the calamity that was left behind, it's that part of it's done. There's other folks who are facing some other issues, but for the regular CNMI government, it's almost like everybody got a pay raise after going for like a year and a half with austerity measures. everybody's getting some money back, some extra money, which is pretty nice. Oh, there's a bunch of kids trick-or-treating below me. On today? Crap. I would have brought candy. I didn't think that the day after Halloween people do this stuff. Oh, man. I got stuff if adults want to go trick-or-treating here, for sure. I have a lot of frozen margarita, they're ice khakis. No kidding. I know, they are not for those kids. And like I had a couple of them yesterday, they were great. But I have not been enjoying them, like meaning like I've not been partaking in them. But if adults want to come by and trick or treat here and get themselves some frozen margarita ice khakis, got them. They're not homemade. No, these are legit. So you can come down and do it. Trick or treat. Hey, treat. Here you go. Bam. And hang out for a little while. We'll talk about all kinds of stuff. All right. Hey, but thanks for that update. Let me know that there's kids trick or treating below me. That's great. That explains why they're so happy and everything downstairs. All right. Well, they're happy, but folks in the CNMI are happy too because the austerity measures are lifted. So what does that actually mean, though? Well, the good news is that next Tuesday is a holiday anyway because it is a legal holiday for the CNMI, because of the Election Day holiday. But a lot of folks are also have Monday. Is it Citizenship Day? Is that what Monday is? Hold on. We even posted this from CUC. We posted it on our page, and I can't remember which is it. I think it's Citizenship Day. I think. Hold on, I'm trying to pull it up right now. Just a moment. Oh, I posted it last night before I left. Citizenship Day. Yes, Monday, November 4th is Citizenship Day, so it's kind of like a bonus weekend. Holy cow. A 4-day weekend. Monday is Citizenship Day, and Tuesday's Election Day. Woo! That's going to be a nice weekend. Not for me. Not for me at all. Woe is me. It's not woe is me. It's awesome as me. I get to do this because we're going to be at the multi-purpose on Tuesday. Not all day, but we're going to be setting up in the afternoon, and we're going to have the full-on schmear, the full schmear. We're going to be able to do your phone calls as we are there all night while they collect and count the votes and everything, all those ballots. LJ Castro will be there with me, and we'll be taking your calls. We'll be entertaining your comments. We'll be interviewing folks who are there, and it should be a lot of fun. We did it 2 years ago for the general election, and we really enjoyed it. We loved having your calls in, too. I'm telling you, the folks in the mainland calling, that was great, too. What a great thing. And, you know, what we'll be able to do as well, we could do video calls. So you guys could call us from wherever you're at watching, and we can put you on. That's going to be really neat. And that's something that we didn't do last time where we drove to the individual camps. And with 5, there's no way that we could do it for this one. But for the 2 camps that we had, and we tried to do remote broadcast so we could be cool. Now, next time, if we're going to do that in 2 years, we might just have people who are like permanently stationed there instead of driving back and forth, or we'll just try to get them on a video call. The problem is that it's harder when you're trying to get folks if they didn't win. Right, so it's better to have someone there on the ground. If they win, of course, yeah, you name it, let's do it. Let's talk about it. You don't win, it's a little tougher. So we'll see how it works out. At least for this one, though, we're going to be there, and we'll be chowing on some kind of food, and we'll be enjoying some kind of beverages. No, I know we can't drink alcohol over there. Would be nice, though, right? Anyway, let's get to some of the other things. Yeah, so again, austerity is lifted, so everybody's back to 80 hours for folks who were affected, and it's going to be pay period 25, so that means November 3rd. So starts next week. Pretty sweet. Starts right away. Woo! It says recent developments have assured us that we can move forward with restoring employee work hours, and the budgetary impact of doing so can be addressed under current provisions of fiscal year 25 Budget Act, which allows for 100% reprogramming authority. Governor Torres wanted that too, didn't he? He reminded all employees that we are all public service entrusted to deliver the needs of the community as a whole. As such, we must continue to work diligently to improve services to the public and contribute in the overall effort to control expenditures. You know, I was thinking about this yesterday when I got this info. First of all, this is great news, right? The second one, I'm like, man, I wonder if this is like, I mean, it's right before the election. He's not running for anything, but like one of the campaigns was posting stuff that was like critical of his administration, which I'm like, why would somebody running for the U.S. Congress position be posting stuff about the governor? It seems like are you? It's like, why did we go into Iraq when we were trying to go after Al Qaeda in Pakistan and Afghanistan? It's like, why aren't you taking your eye off the prize? Like, why are you looking over there? It made no sense to me. Well, maybe this is their answer to that. Oh, we'll show them. We'll show them. No more austerity. That's austerity. It's gone. So, hey, for whatever reason, it's good. So we'll take it. I hope we can pay for it. Sounds like we can. So let's go for that. Speaking of let's talk about Candace. Haha, smooth segue. All right, so Candace Munoz, she has been the center of all this stuff with CUC recently, and she delivered the first of all of the public comments that went in yesterday. And again, so she spoke for 3 minutes. They raised their hand. Chairwoman gave her another 3 minutes, so that was 6 minutes in. Great. And then that was going to be it for her. But then people gave their time for the comments they were going to deliver to her. So I figure we will give you a bit of that, of her public comments from yesterday as well. So let's do that. Let's get into that and start sending you over to see Candace's comments from yesterday.
Good morning. My name is Candace Munoz. I am a former CUC employee. Today, I am speaking as a public citizen. CUC management publicly labeled me as a disgruntled employee. That could be anything. That's for the farthest thing from the truth. In fact, the truth is that the CNMI has major problems. For many years, CUC has operated in secrecy without full transparency and accountability to the public. What I did on October 3rd, 2024, was I awakened the sleeping giant. The giant is the people. And I allowed them a voice, a place, a person to express their concerns about the Commonwealth Utilities Corporation, the people's utility. CUC is not owned by a select few. CUC is owned by the people, and it's for the people. And we have a right to know what's happening within our utility. We have a right to question management decisions and participate in decision-making processes that affect power, water, and wastewater services, essential services that affect all of us. For many years, CUC resisted change. I know this because I was employed. I started my employment in April 24, 2024, and it only took me less than 6 months to see the truth. For anyone who wants to know my background, I was born and raised on Guam. My father's from the CNMI, Saipan. My mother's from Guam. I went to school like some of our young people who go abroad for education. I went to school in New York State at Marist College. I have a background, a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science and a minor in History. I also studied economics, and I taught U.S. government and economics over at Marianas High School. I also taught Chamorro Language and Heritage Studies, as well as NMI history. I'm very passionate about our people, and I truly love our people. I love the CNMI, and I love Guam. I believe in the knowledge and guidance of experts. I believe that when people have walked the road that we are traveling before us, we should really listen. We should listen to what they say, and we should follow good guidance. I also believe in listening to the employees. The employees are the lifeblood of the corporation. They are the reason why we have our services. And during my past 6 months of working at CUC, and even now, so many people have spoken up to me. And it's just, there's so many problems, and we need to fix it. I don't believe in running away from our problems. I don't believe in, suppressing the problem. I truly believe the only way we can move forward is by facing our problems and correcting them so that they don't happen again. What led me to that public comment at the House of Representatives, the People's House?
How much more time? Another 3 minutes. Another 3 minutes.
What led me there that morning was there was a bill that was being discussed, introduced by Congressman Vincent Aldan, and it's in regards to the Public Utilities Commission, to support them, to provide them with the funding and the support so that they can do their job. What led me there was because, I don't believe I violated any rules. I carefully reviewed CUC's HR rules and regulations. And Section 13.12 is a whistleblower's policy. Reprisal is prohibited. No CUC employee or board member shall engage in reprisal against an employee for disclosing a violation or suspected violation of a CNMI or federal law or a regulation promulgated by CUC pursuant to CNMI law. B, application. An employee who reports or who is known by any person in a management or supervisory position to have indicated to report such violation or suspected violations shall be protected by this rule, unless the employee knew the report was false. This protection shall extend to employees who participate or who have indicated an intent to participate in an investigation, hearing, or inquiry conducted by a public body, and to employees who participate or who were known by management or supervisory personnel to have indicated an intent to participate in a court proceeding. And Section C, forms of reprisal. Reprisal includes such actions such as discharge, threats of discipline, or arbitrary and capricious changes in the conditions of employment. And in that public comment, I discussed certain issues: mismanagement, conflicts of interest in gift giving, which is a violation of not only CUC's Human Resource Rules and Regulations, it is also in violation to CNMI Ethics Code Act. Abuse of authority, favoritism. Also just excessive travel. Human resource concerns and violations. And I didn't just speak for me. I spoke for other employees who were too scared to speak up. Did I have to go that far to the legislature? No. It could have been handled within CUC. It could have just ended within CUC. But when I communicated with my supervisor, my concerns were ignored. When I went to the next level, the HR manager, they tried to push me down to my supervisor. Then I escalated it to our executive director. He pushed it back to the HR manager. Then I went back again, and then I was told to go back to the HR manager. Then I spoke up to the Public Utilities Commission, which is one of 3 oversight bodies that is responsible for regulating the utility. And after that, I was put on administrative leave and then terminated. My questions, I have many questions. Why is there an external legal counsel who advises human resources and billing disputes? In one of my emails to our executive director, I asked, well, actually, I believe it was to the HR manager. I recommended that he speak with CUC's legal counsel, who is Ms. Tina Ngo. When I met with them on September 20 in a meeting, I realized that the external legal counsel was very different.
We have 7 other people that want to speak. Okay.
I can
Ms. Mooney,
close.
Thank you. You can go ahead and submit your public comments.
Can I give her my 3 minutes?
What's your name, sir?
Juan Tenorio.
Did you sign in, sir? Yes. Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
Why is it that there's an external legal counsel that oversees human resources and billing disputes? During my time here, I found out that those are the 2 most questionable divisions, because HR deals directly with the employees, and then billing disputes is dealing with the ratepayers. And as I found out, there are so many people in our community. Not only employees have filed grievances, one of them is about unjust hiring practices, unjust terminations. I believe that those are very important. We must listen to the employees. And then, what about billing disputes? There are many billing disputes. People who are being charged questionable amounts. One of them is $33,000. That is the highest billing dispute I have ever seen. I reviewed that billing dispute, and I believe that that is unjust. And I believe that that should be looked into and wiped clean. There are other billing disputes, $10,000. One woman, she commented, she told her story that there was a $5,000 billing dispute. It made her family, they had to leave the island. Many of our people in the CNMI are suffering, and it's unjust. And when I questioned the FAC charge, a calculation was never provided to the people of the CNMI. They were blindly paying that FAC for many years until I spoke up at the legislature. And that's when everybody began to share their concerns. And that's wonderful, because that prompted the Public Utilities Commission to activate and look into it. Even though they don't have the funding to begin, they want to do their job to regulate the utility. The customer is always right. I truly believe in that. And CUC is a public corporation intended to serve the public, to provide them with the best customer service, to listen to them, and to resolve any issues. And in order to do that, we must make CUC an amazing place to work. A place where conflict of interest, where politics, where retaliation is not condoned and not tolerated. We need to make this a standard utility, because for so many years, CUC has been operating under the guise of a standard utility, but it is anything but standard. And how do I know this? Because on June 13, 2024, at 12:30 p.m., after a call with the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, one of the NREL representatives emailed the executive director, chief of admin at the time. Yeah.
Would anyone else like to yield their 3 minutes to Ms. Mooney?
It's okay. I can stop now. I'll be happy to stop now.
Sir, what's your name?
Joseph Rios.
Thank you.
Okay, so an NREL representative emailed back in June and advised our management on all the steps needed to do the cost of service study. It's very simple steps. Week by week or step by step, tasks that needed to be done to make our utility better for the CNMI. But what happened? That email was ignored, or at least there was no response to it. That email was ignored. To me, I consider that negligence. As a leader, we must act, and we must act urgently for the people, because we are not, this is not, these are trying times, and people are living without power, without water. They're connecting their lines to their neighbors, and in one place, a CUC employee saw five neighbors connecting to 1 meter. These things are unacceptable in a place where our people are living in poverty. We have a 38% or more poverty percent of people in the CNMI living at or below the poverty level. It's unacceptable for leaders to do nothing or to take their sweet time when people in the community are suffering. We need to act now, we must act swiftly, and we must rely on the advice and the wisdom and the experience of people who can advise us to take the step to do the best that we can do for the people. I thank you all for listening to my public comment and also for allowing me to speak today. Jesus Masi, Hiliso.
Thank you.
Just can we get a?
All right, so those are the comments from Candace Munoz. Oh, geez.
We have the recording.
I can transcribe it.
There we go. All right, so, and that was Simon Sanchez, director, who was asking for her comments. So anyway, that was it. So, but you could already see that folks gave up their time. Juan Tenorio, he was the first one. He's like, can I yield her my time? And then Karina Magofnia's husband, Joe Rios, gave his time also. So that they gave her the 3 minutes, they extended her 3 minutes, and then those two gave up their time, which, you know, people came there because they want to express some stuff, and they gave up their own time for someone else. I think it says a lot for those two who gave up their time to her, for sure, about their selflessness. And I thought that was telling. And but again, you know, we talked about it earlier. Should they have had to? You know, that's a good point. You know, that's a good point for a discussion. Ooh, geez, let me turn that down. Yikes. But I thought it was a pretty impressive show of folks who turned out, and not everybody got to say what they wanted because they gave their time to other folks. Let's go to another one of those. So the next one who came up was Chris Minogo, and his part was really interesting because he talked about a conspiracy theory that he's got, but he's got it based on doing some research, he says, with some info that's on the CUC site, and after hearing from Cobre Aldan, and going through and really trying to track like where the fact comes from and why it is what it is. But let's give a listen to what he's got to say here.
Buenos dias. My name is Chris Ogo, and I'm here to talk on 3 areas of the agenda. And please just interrupt me because I know that I have few people that wants to yield their time to me. It's going to take a while. Agenda number 2, number 4, and number 3 in chronological order. I'm here prompted by 2 whistleblowers. I do not know much about what's going on at CUC. However, I asked Google to ask artificial intelligence to give me all the information that I can present today. On December 16, 2023, this is almost a year ago, I happened to go over a video a week ago that I consider him, this is my opinion, a whistleblower, because he was the first person to open my mind on the interview during a Marianas Agupa talk show. And I know Congressman Aldan is here, and I want to share that he educated me about CUC. As you all know, he is the current House PUTC chairman, And because of that interview, it gave me the idea to go and search under the CNMI Office of Public Auditor. And the OPA led me to the audit from Ernst & Young. And as I gathered those information through Congressman Rep. Odan, and he was correct that 1 year, one term is not enough to do this job, to tackle one of the hardest issue in the CNMI. And I applaud him for that. And I hope the people give him another term. Because if it weren't for him, I won't be doing my research for the past two weeks. Let me just lay my papers here so I can go chronologically. I don't have anything written, but I'm going to just use my documents through my research. First of all, this may be a conspiracy theory from me, but because of putting all the puzzles together, I came up with an umbrella. And it all came down to the, first it started with LEAC, then it went to the few adjustment charts. And I would like to give the chair my umbrella, the color one. Can someone bring this up to her? And the umbrella, the way I look, according to Congressman Audan, he said he did a seven-year research that would...
Chairman, did you want to give him one?
Chair, please, this is the first time I'm going to approach you, and I don't know if I'm ever going to come back. But because I took time to research and to consolidate all the information, probably something can give the board a conspiracy theory that I thought because of Congressman Audan. When I look at the FAC and I'm looking at all the numbers that I look on your website from the kilowatt hours, and I'm like, wait a minute. If this is their annual revenue, then I know that money is not grown from dirt. Someone has to pay all this. So I consolidated in an umbrella, and what I gave you is a thought. And I put the residential FAC and commercial FAC together, compiled. I didn't put the government FAC because we all know the government barely pays, right? So the people that pays, I put them together. And the umbrella looks, according to Congressman's research, when I went through his video, it came to my mind, Singapore fuel, SIDA dividend, EPA lawsuit, 1% OPA fee, and other things. These are all information that I got online that I compiled and I made an umbrella. That probably this is where the fuel adjustment charts are all coming together. Because somehow, someone has to pay the operation of this public organization. Now that's my conspiracy theory, and I tried to put it together. So when I put the residential FAC, commercial FAC, I combine all this under this umbrella, and that may be where you're taking your charges to make people wonder, why am I paying my bills this much? That's my first part of my presentation, the umbrella, the conspiracy theory through all the information that I gathered. And I found under Ernst & Young the report that $1,080,000 that has to be given to the dividend. And it says on Ernst & Young, SIDA dividend. So I'm thinking that's the one they were talking about, the agreement, the stock. Congressman mentioned about the stock that SIDA has with CUC. And I'm like, wow, I didn't know that. Thanks to Congressman, I had to look into it, and at Ernst & Young, it's showing $1,080,000. Now, I was reviewing some information trying to gather again, and I saw a $22.8 million EPA suit. I'm like, is that part of that? These are all online, available. So I'm gathering all this information, thinking, is this where the FAC coming all together? People are paying? I don't know. I'm just putting things together, like I said, conspiracy theory. Number 2. Already?
I just want to make sure we have time for everyone's public comments.
Chair, just at least the most important part, whistleblower number 2. I already did the whistleblower number 1, whistleblower number 2.
Does anyone want to yield their 3 minutes to Mr. Ogo?
Annalisa Gomez. I'd like to yield my time to Mr. Ogo.
Thank you.
You know, when again on October, Candice mentioned she was on Marianas Sagupa. I'm sorry, that Marianas Sagupa talk show is a Chamorro talk show. I like to listen. And that's where I heard this lady spoke. I'm like, really? That prompted me to come today, to really share my thought and to put in my conspiracy theory at the same time thinking, especially when I heard what she said today, I'm like, wow, I need to ask the board. Board, you heard what she said today. To me, that's legitimate to look and to reconsider the action of management to not to renew her contract and consider her argument of the things that she mentioned today. I didn't know what to expect, but when she spoke on Marianas Sagupa, that's when it all started for me to really look into this matter. She woke me up, Congressman Audan woke me up, and I'm like, let me put things together. But when I heard her spoke today, I'm thinking the board needs to look at that. You know, I'm a taxpayer too. No, I may be contributing to CUC, and many times I'm a resident in Rota and I pay my bills. I even called here one time. My usage is $7, but wow, the amount I get, I end up paying it. I have to because I need light. But Candice really encouraged me to come, and not through her interview at Marianas Sagupa. I decided to come today and say and listen to her and ask the board to consider the action of management, if it's the right thing that they need to do, or you guys have to look at it. I have a few more things to say, but I'm gonna give the rest of the crowd in here to give their testimony. But I just want to say thank you to Transparency and giving and showing your website, because a lot of the information that I received there, you know, that's where I learned what is means of Plat Singapore. I started reading on that but not enough time. I'll come back for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And that's where you can see where they were basically saying, hey, you only got so much time. But, you know, first his wife gave him time, then Anna gave up her time so that he could give his comments over there. And, you know, it's not easy for folks to get down there. And it takes a lot for people to get interested enough to get down there and talk about what's happening. And it means that you've got to build up some frustration if you're going to do that too. Let's go ahead and move on a little bit to get to the next one we got is John Gonzalez. He's one of the candidates for U.S. House of Representatives, but he's more than that. I mean, you guys know him. You've known him he's born and raised here, and he's got a great story, and then he's got some input also. So he's got about 6 minutes worth of stuff, and let's get him in there. So that would be... He's the last one of all the folks who've spoken. Oh, no, we didn't get Karina. So here, let's do this. One moment. But here's John Gonzalez. Get him all ready to go.
Half a day, tiro magamugaan, and good day, board members and management of CUC. So men namago 15 mandanya paugo. It's a privilege and an honor to be here to personally listen to the deliberations. Wahoo si John Oliver Bolis de los Reyes Gonzalez, and I'm here as a citizen who truly care for hashtag what matters and hashtag who matters now. We all agree that the ultimate objective and goal is affordable utilities for ratepayers. Board members, first of all, I want to commend the board members hearing the refreshing discussion about making sure that there's open communication executive director, that there's harmony and unison between management and the board, and that all governance and actions that will ultimately impact the common people that are struggling to survive anyway are represented with the highest fiduciary public trust because they are suffering on top of trying to just remain afloat, to eat food, and to make sure power and those air conditioning is there for those that are disabled and are sick and have respiratory issues. And also to make sure that there's money for their gas and their butane to survive. And I know this because the last 12 months, I've been visiting homes. And the topmost issue is trying to survive because they can't afford CUC. And the deteriorating hospital. I went to Las Vegas to attend the annual Labor Day softball tournament. There are people left because CUC is killing them with the ratepayers. Double the cost of living in Luta. The cost of living alone, cost of doing business in the Marianas is a disincentive to begin with. It's 30 to 35% more to live in the Marianas over living in the mainland United States. It's sad that our people are leaving 48 years after the covenant was signed. They're leaving because they can't survive. And I'll close with these issues. Our objective is efficiency by leveraging, and I appreciate the best practice examples of Guam, Mr. Perez, and of course, Primo CPA, Rufo Mafnas, Chairman Frank Rebalaman, for enlightening me with these things, and I have faith that the public fiduciary trust is upheld. Leveraging expert private utilities vendors or providers who will guarantee uninterrupted power, removing liability of maintenance and fuel and overhead costs borne by CUC by doing so, and with antiquated engines that should have been replaced decades ago. By also net metering, by renewable energy sources so that we can supplement our just to lower the cost and make people breathe. CUC hiring our very own local professionals knowledgeable in utilities, business operations, technology, and energy, and what have you. It sounds like CUC is pushing to acquire parcels of public land to place solar farms and or new gensets power plants moving forward. I respectfully remind CUC that in the Marianas, Northern Marianas, public lands are collectively owned by people of Northern Marianas descent. And just as you would pay for private land acquisition, I am respectfully demanding that ratepayers of NMD descent who own these public lands have a sigh of relief with rate adjustments to make sure that in lieu of the market land appraisal for that land acquisition, that we pass on those savings to our people of Northern Marianas descent ratepayers.
Hallelujah.
Yes, please. Sa izoktay tano, za tiguayla zina tasedi, na utafan mafabama mos, za ikwanto balinyay tano ni patsuli ni tanota, utafan manai savings through rate adjustments. Manakmasi, mas manakmasi. Ladies and gentlemen, and yes, let's open that communication with Guam, Kauai, of similar extenuating geographical circumstances, and adapt and adopt the best practice examples. Man mamatay taw-tawta, they're leaving home in droves. We are not a banana republic. We are ready to work together with transparency, ethical conducts, and also ginasgas tininas para muna. And let's not continue to have our people suffer because of management incompetence or hiding all of these no allegations. Por favor. I worked for CUC, by the way, when Kumoy and Tim Villagomez were our director up at Lower Base. So I've been there, and I know what it is. This is an issue that our people have every day. Let's save our people. Si Zeus Masi. God bless UC.
That's candidate John Gonzalez talking about his takes on all this stuff as well. And, I don't think I got Karina up there, so Senator McGuffney, let's get her in there as well. Her comments are a little bit earlier. Not hard to get to. Just scrolling back to it. And so you're able to hear what she has to say as well. There we go. Almost there. And her husband wasn't able to talk because he yielded his time so that somebody else could. So let's get that started.
Half a day to all UCUC Board of Directors and staff. My name is Karina McGuffney, and I'm here as a representative for the constituents that I represent on the island of Saipan. So I'll try and keep it brief and simple to the point. There are 2 items on the agenda that I would like to provide comments on, and that is item 2 regarding public education about the fuel adjustment charge. And so real quick, I know that earlier in today's meeting, Mr. Kevin Watson, the Executive Director, mentioned that the cost of service study is on the way, which is wonderful news because that's what everybody is looking forward to. And now, with that study coming into play, the ratepayers can truly be informed as to the actual cost it takes CUC to generate and provide the utility services that the ratepayers pay, right? So that's very important. And so on behalf of the ratepayers, I would like to inquire with CUC's management on the expected or target timeline that the ratepayers can expect to see as far as the implementation of the adjusted rate, if applicable. So I know that you mentioned 3 months from now, right? Or it's ongoing. So 3 months from now, when we receive that that cost of service study, when can the people or the ratepayers expect to see any adjustments to the rate, if applicable? The next comment that I have is on item 3 on the agenda, which is the financial impact of the passage of Senate Bill 23-37, which passed the Senate yesterday. So should this legislation be enacted into law, what can the ratepayers expect to see or experience as far as the changes or impact on the utility services that is provided by CUC? Additionally, with the projected reduction of about $2 to $3 million in revenues, again, should this legislation be enacted into law, which division or department of CUC will be greatly impacted by this reduction? I think it's so important that the people understand that, where CUC is coming from, and we look forward to those reports. Thank you. I yield my time. Thank you. Public comments, you open?
And that was our senators. And we had Jim Kingman come up again. We had him earlier. He was the one who followed there. Oh, 1 second. Yeah, I thought there were a lot of great comments that came in, for sure. And then we had our chairman for the PUTC, Jim Cyrock, spoke for a while afterwards, and we'll give you that. It says, I'm just seeing Tobot's comments on there. It says, Simon Sanchez, you yourself should take the local citizens into mind as you fought for the people of Guam as well. You're a good man, so please find it in your heart to hear the cries of the CNMI. Tell you what, you got to listen to the whole thing. If you listen to Simon Sanchez's comments and everything during in there, it was some good stuff. I mean, some really great stuff. And especially that stuff at the very end of the meeting. It was really fantastic. All right, so let's go. So Jim Cyrock was there. He was there for about 20 minutes. I think, according to the timestamp I got, let's see. Yeah, 18 minutes, 17 and a half. There you go. Then we have Jack Angelo, who gave about 4 minutes, and Bruce Camacho who just had a couple of questions as well. He's a CPUC director as well. I think for what Jim had to say, and we mentioned some of his stuff up front earlier, but he gave a lot of good stuff about like the importance of how you go about the rate study, and that there's only like 2 people in that room who spent a lot of time doing all that stuff. And he said it was Jim and Simon Sanchez, and that what they really need to do is bring in a consultant to do that kind of stuff, to work with them, so it makes it easier, so that when they have that conversation with CPUC, they can get stuff done. I mean, it really is a no-brainer. So Simon Sanchez. So what they end up doing, one of the, great question, Luisa, one of the things about the board is that they want somebody from off-island on the board as well. So Simon Sanchez is that representative as somebody from off-island who's on the board. So that's part of how that works. In fact, here, let's pull this up here real quick. Going to CUC's website. CUC, Saipan. It's cucgov.org. And there's a lot of good info on their website. Okay, about CUC, who we are, mission statement, values, board of directors. And do they provide good info? There's no info about any of them. Their names are just listed there. Well, that's too bad. Why don't they have more info on them? Like you would think you could click and get their like resume or their bio or something like that, but it's not there. Too bad. I was hoping to see like how that works on their website, but they do have good info on the website, but it just didn't have that. So that would be something for them to update. There's about the tariffs and rates. Services, dispute payments. Now let's see what we got on here. There's oversight. There's the management, mission statement. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, but that's how it's set up for the CUC board. I was hoping to find something on there that explained like how they set up and the reason why they set up. Let's do this. Let me see if I can find it under the law, the CNMI law. CNMI law. CUC. Let's see if it find that on here. This is. I'm looking specifically for the. Oh, here we go. See, you can find it all online. It's great. Why order the Encyclopedia Britannica? So this is about to amend regarding the composition of the board of directors for the Commonwealth Utilities Corporation to provide for staggered terms of the board and for other purposes. Okay, so let's go and check that part out, by the way. So I think there'll be something in there. There we go. None shall be employees or officials of the CNMI local governments during their tenure. Okay, that makes sense. Provide for 8 members with staggered terms. Provide that at least one is from Tini and one is from Rhoda. And here is Simon Sanchez's part. Provide that at least one member be from off-island with utility management experience. This provision would be similar to the provision for in the American Samoa statute, which provided an ASPA with valuable utility management experience on the board. So that's it. So, and then at least 5 of the board members possess private sector business or professional background, and provide that at least 2 board members be women. All right. And that was, that's in there. So you got some diversity in there. Hooray. All right. So now you know. That's where Simon Sanchez's part is in there. And this was back from, 1996. So I remember that about having somebody from off island, and that's it. That's where it came from. That's why they have it the way they've got it. Let's see. Is there more that we're going to get into? Turn that down just a little bit. We can get into the interviews that happen afterwards, but I mean, I think that's where, excuse me, all the big stuff happened. You know, yeah, I think that's really where all the big stuff happened. We did do those interviews afterward that were actually, excuse me, jeez, guys, dispensa. All right, I'll tell you what, we'll take a quick break. We will come back. I'll get to those interviews that we did afterwards, and then maybe we'll show a little bit about what happened afterwards. But I want to give some love to our sponsors for giving love to us. So without further ado.
If you're a person with a disability in the CNMI, you have certain rights that protect your ability to vote. This video contains some information about your rights and some resources available to you in protecting those rights.
What are some of your voting rights as a person with a disability? You have the right to vote regardless of your disability. You have the right to cast your vote privately without disclosing your vote to anyone. But you also have the right to ask for assistance as needed. Polling place workers should be ready and available to assist and accommodate your needs. CNMI law requires that you must be registered to vote in the CNMI. You can vote if you are a citizen or national of the United States, at least 18 years of age on the date of the election, domiciled in the CNMI, a resident of the CNMI, and have resided in the Commonwealth for 120 days, are not serving a sentence for a felony, have not been declared by the court of unsound mind, and have registered to vote at least 60 days before the election.
As a voter with a disability, you have the right to vote in an accessible voting place. That means you can get from your car through the door to cast your ballot without physical barriers or impediments.
Under the CNMI law, any voter who needs help in casting a ballot is entitled to request for assistance. A poll supervisor or the executive director of the Commonwealth Election Commission can provide assistance at the polling place, or you can exercise your right to curbside vote. However, whether you vote at curbside or not is your choice. No poll worker can force you to vote curbside. If you are unable to mark your ballot, you may select up to 2 people to help you cast your vote, except that they cannot be your employer or your employer's agent.
The Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990 requires public entities to provide progress access, reasonable modification of policy, auxiliary aids, and service where necessary to afford an individual with a disability an equal opportunity to participate in and enjoy the benefits of the services, program, or activity being conducted by the public entity.
Our primary goal is to have 100% participation of eligible voters in all elections, 100% polling place accessibility, and options for all voters who seek independent and private voting. If you want to know more about your voting rights, please contact the Northern Marianas Protection and Advocacy Systems Incorporated at 670-235-7273 or 74, or you can simply visit our website at www.nmpasi.org.
This video was brought to you by the Administration for Community Living and does not necessarily reflect their official views.
A little over 3 months ago, I declared my candidacy for CNMI's delegate to U.S. Congress. I wanted to give our voters a different choice, a choice more befitting the spirit of our islands, a choice who isn't beholden to big money party politics, and someone who would voice the collective interests of all who call the CNMI home. Service to our community starts with a dignified, even-keeled approach to every issue with all people all the time. Our next delegate needs to be someone with a proven, unblemished record of placing a high value on dignity and respect for all. Our next delegate needs to be someone focused on service above self. And our next delegate needs to be someone who is willing to represent all of our citizens, not just a select few. Our strength lies in our unity, and our community needs an honest leader who is committed to safeguarding and preserving our Commonwealth as a whole, not someone preoccupied with self-preservation through political gamesmanship. I know what it takes, and I have the proven experience to lead others in service to our community. My name is James Rayfand, and I want to be your voice in Washington. This November, when you step into the ballot box, please vote number 4. Please vote James Rayfand.
This ad was paid for by the committee to elect James M. Riffen, and we approve this message.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. The presidential candidates making their pitches in the Sun Belt. In New Mexico, Donald Trump tells supporters he'll fix the economy and launch a mass deportation of migrants.
I will bring back the American dream. We're going to bring back the American dream. It's hard to have an American dream when radical, crazy killers and just horrible murders, you had coming through your border.
In Arizona, Kamala Harris attacked Trump's message.
It is an argument that is full of hate and division. He insults Latinos, scapegoats immigrants, and it's not just what he says, it's what he will do. If elected, you can be sure he will bring back family separation policies. Only on a much greater scale than last time. And it is time then to turn the page on Donald Trump.
Meantime, more legal action in Pennsylvania over mailed ballots. Norman Hall has details.
The state and national GOP filed an emergency request with Pennsylvania Supreme Court that justices put on hold a ruling that envelopes voters use to send in mail ballots don't need to have been accurately hand-dated, as required under state law. The judges emphasized they were ruling on an election that has already occurred. Pennsylvania is the largest swing state in the close presidential race, and its voters are also filling a U.S. Senate seat, 3 statewide offices, and most of the legislature. I'm Norman Hall.
A final pre-election read on the Federal Reserve's preferred inflation gauge shows it's dropped to near pre-pandemic levels. Prices up 2.1% in September from a year ago, barely above the Fed's 2% target. Fewer Americans filed for unemployment benefits last week, and mortgage rates keep rising. Freddie Mac puts the average on a 30-year at 6.72%. Drops for big tech stocks led Wall Street lower. The S&P fell 1.9%. The Dow 0.9%, the Nasdaq 2.8%. This is AP News. Football tonight, the Jets hosting the Houston Texans. Meantime, Tom Merriam caps off the baseball season.
The Dodgers are World Series champions for the second time in 5 seasons, coming from behind to beat the Yankees 7-6 in Game 5 to take the series 4-1. Freddie Freeman, who hit 4 homers and drove in 12 runs, was named the series MVP.
This is what we start out to do every single spring training, is to win a championship, and I think it's the hardest thing to do in sports is because you just never know what's going to happen.
Freeman's 2-run single in the 5th keyed a 5-run rally to tie the score after New York had jumped out to a 5-0 lead sparked by Aaron Judge's first home run of the series. All of the Dodger runs that inning were unearned. The Yanks reclaimed the lead with a run in the 6th, but Los Angeles took the lead for good with 2 runs in the 8th inning on sacrifice flies by Gavin Lux to tie the score and Mookie Betts to provide what proved to be the winning run not only in the game but in the series. The Dodgers used 8 pitchers to win the 8th championship in franchise history. Tom Merriam, New York.
And I'm Ben Thomas, AP News. Thanks for listening.
All right, Marianas, it is 9:31 in the morning, and it's 86 degrees outside, and that wind is blowing around, but it's not too bad. Scattered showers and thunderstorms throughout the day? Yeah, that's happening. Partly sunny? Yeah, that's happening too. We're looking at a high near 87, and we're at 86 right now. Humidity's at 77% up at the Saipan Airport, and it is blowing. Winds out of the east 16 to 20 miles per hour throughout the day. Gusts as high as 25. Woo! That's faster than you're supposed to drive in the village. And we've got a 30% chance of rain today. It's going to be kind of nice tonight as well. That wind's going to die down, but just a hair. 10 to 16 miles per hour with gusts as high as 21. It might rain. That's what we're looking at. Nothing too crazy, though. And your rest of your weekend's going to be pretty nice. It's going to be just like it is outside right now. Think of that like the whole weekend with alternating periods of lightness and darkness for sunrise and sunset. All right, well, we've got a lot of stuff going on right now. And, man, there's a hearing going on at the courthouse for sure. It is... Hold on 1 second. One day I'm going to totally kick this cold. One day. What's going on over at the local court right now is the hearing for they're still doing that hearing for Shane Villanueva about the whether or not Jim Kingman can be the prosecutor. That's going to be interesting for sure. I don't think that's going to stand. I think presiding Judge Naraha is going to say that does not work in this court, and then they're going to move on with the actual trial that starts next week. So that's supposed to start on Wednesday after the election. So we'll be down and listen to some of that stuff just to see how that stuff goes. But for today, that's where that's at. There's going to be a proclamation signing over at MHS in about a half an hour because it is Education Month. That's right. And the governor's going to be down there with the whole team to go and tell everybody about how great education is in the Marianas. Turns out it's pretty good. No doubt about it. Want to say thanks to all our sponsors for supporting our show and for letting us know that you think that we're pretty cool. You know, the big deal for us as we continue to grow is that you guys have been watching, you guys have been following the page, liking us over there on YouTube, subscribing to us on YouTube, and even on Instagram. Our YouTube and Instagram, YouTube, we're on there for all of our shows. Instagram, we post it when we post. I mean, that's it. Mostly not, we've been doing it mostly for like when we post out the press releases and all that stuff. But admittedly, we need a little help in that department. So, but if you guys could at least subscribe to it or, you know, follow us, like us, all that stuff, that'd be a great boost to us. But keep liking us here. That's the important part. All right, guys. Well, we are going to wrap it up here for the week and get ready. We're going to be doing something with the Saipan Chamber of Commerce this afternoon that I'm really excited about. And I want to make sure we do some really great stuff for them. They've been great for us, and I want to do some great stuff for them. So that's going to be this afternoon, but I can prep for it now and be great for it. So, all right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in. Whenever things are happening, we'll be there. But I'll tell you this. Keep messaging us to let us know what you think is the most important thing, because that's how we can follow this stuff. There's news everywhere. We don't have a massive news team where we send individual reporters to all these different things that are covering it all the time. They're not writing stories because they have to get so many stories per day. What we end up doing is just following the news where it is. And some of that is just from you, by you saying, hey, do you know that this is what's happening? We count on that. Yeah, we could be out there doing all that other stuff, but I mean, like, literally, we count on you guys because we don't want to cover the stories that aren't interesting. We want to cover the stories that are important to you, the things that are the most important to the Commonwealth, and that we get that from you. So thanks so much. All right, guys, we're out of here for the weekend, and we'll be back next week like normal on Citizenship Day, but we'll also be doing our regular show on Election Day. Later, we'll be setting up on Election Day in the multipurpose building, and we'll be broadcasting live all night as the votes come in, as the ballot boxes come in, and as the tallies are announced. We're going to have all those for you. That's pretty badass, right? I mean, it's pretty cool. So we're going to be there for all of that for you. Man, this is what we do. This is the life that we are living, and I hope you guys are having a great one. Do I have any parting thoughts for the week? Good question. Yeah. It is really cool that we have this platform to be able to get this kind of info out. And you're going to agree with me sometimes you won't, and that's cool. You're going to agree with the people who would comment, and you're going to agree with the people that are the subjects of the news and the subjects of the things happening in the CNMI and not. But the cool thing is that we're getting it all out there to you. And not telling you have to think one way or the other. Like, it's for you to figure out how you want to do that. And even if we don't agree on all that stuff, it doesn't mean that we can't be friends. You know, like having those kind of good conversations and not agreeing on things makes a healthier relationship. If we all thought the same thing about everything, man, we'd be boring AF, you know? It's good to have a little spice in there. It makes those conversations a little bit better. It makes having you guys on the show even better. I love it. So think about that. Take that into your other relationships when you go out there. Even though it's crazy election time, you and your friends might not vote for the same people. Doesn't mean you're not going to be friends anymore. You guys might get really hot about who you want to vote and who you want to get in there. It's not the end of the world, whoever gets in, right? I mean, that's it. It's election time. Let those guys in the mainland get out crazy if they want to. We're not them. We're different. At the end of the day, we all still live on this same island. We still got to make stuff work. We're going to see each other in the stores. We're going to see each other at the bars. We're going to see each other at restaurants, at the beach, family get-togethers. We're going to the same funerals. We're going to the same christenings. We're doing all that stuff. It's us. So don't let these elections split us apart. Let's make sure that we're back here on the same page after all this stuff is said and done. You don't have to like the Dodgers. You should, but you don't have to. Hey guys, it's great to be here. It's great to have you here, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks so much for tuning in and for letting me do this with my life. Have a great day.
Good morning, Marianas. So many things we gotta discuss. Happy day, Tirawamian greetings to Rhoda, Guam, Saipan, and Tinian. For all your island news from a beautiful place with Pacific views, it's always so much fun. Good morning, Mariana.